Hey everyone, happy Friday. We're live at Wild Birds Unlimited in Joliet, and on Fridays we go live to tell you what's new, what's happening at the store, what's happening out in nature. Lots to happen. My name's Ellen, and today we're talking mostly about, nesting season and baby birds because I don't know about you, but I've had baby birds in my yard, nestlings, and I haven't quite seen any fledglings yet, but there's still time. It's still early in nesting season, but perhaps you have seen some. Perhaps you have found baby birds on the ground. We've had some storms last night, and it looks like we might be getting some storms again this week. So it may be worth your while to listen in on these tips and tricks on what to do if you find baby birds in your backyard. And it kind of depends on what stage of life they are in and how we're going to handle them. That's a big key with that. But we'll go into all of that goodness. We're also going to talk about responsible bird feeding as it relates to the sweet sugary foods that we like to provide this time of year. We're going to talk about that too. But real quick first, I always want to talk about our events before I forget and slide right past that. Tomorrow we're having a pop-up shop. Art by Anara will be here. She does wonderful canvas painting. She also does smaller versions of her larger work. She also has everything from like stickers and little things too. So come by. Her art, a lot of her samples are on our Facebook event. There's a link to her website, and you can really check out all of her art. It's all inspired by the female form and by nature. So wonderful, wonderful pieces, very beautiful. I cannot wait to see her tomorrow. So she will be here from 10 to 3 p.m. So you can come in the store and shop her selection of stuff right here in the store. Okay. The next week, that's the week Wednesday the 21st is a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday evening. We're having a presentation on creating a bird paradise. And it's presented by Kelsey Shaw from co-owner of Possibility Place Nursery. He's going to talk all about how to create that bird paradise right in your own yard using native plants. To whether it's to provide food or to provide shelter or places to raise young, you can create that habitat all in your yard just by the things that you're planting. So it's definitely something to come by and check out. Got to call the store to make your reservation for that. It's free to attend. You just got to call the store so we know how many people. Space is somewhat limited based on how many chairs we can provide. So if you'd like to come and you want to participate in it, you just got to call the store and put your name on the list to let us know that you're accounted for. Your seat is accounted for. That weekend, so not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, Memorial Day weekend of Saturday, we're having an in-person native plant sale with Possibility Place Nursery. They're having a huge sale. So they're going to bring many, many varieties. I will start sharing their species list probably on Monday. I'll share that list so that you can be prepared as to what kind of species of plants they will be providing that day. But also during their plant sale, because it's from, I want to say it's 9 to 2:30 p.m. is the plant sale. But at 11 o'clock, halfway through their event, they're going to be doing a planting demonstration. So if you would like to listen in and get some tips and tricks from experts, native plant growers, these are your people. And you can talk to them, ask questions, get all the know-how on how to care and what kind of condition, and get tips for what plants to possibly plant in your yard. They'll be here 9 to 2:30 Saturday, May 24th for that, okay? And then at the end of May, the last weekend, that Saturday, the 31st at 11 o'clock, I'm presenting on tips and tricks for attracting your all about hummingbirds. So if you would like those tips and tricks and want to know a little bit more on how to make the best of this season for attracting hummingbirds, this is your class. Again, you got to call the store to let us know that you're coming, so that we can account for you. Space and seating may be limited based on how many people, how many chairs we have. So just call the store if you're thinking that you want to come in. All right, so those are some of our events. A sneak peek for next month. We've got a cat adoption event in June. That's again St. Sophia's. They bring the cat adoption trailer, and you can shop all their cats and kittens right here on site. Really great organization. We also are having another native plant sale hosted by Good Steward Ecoscapes, and that's going to be a Friday and Saturday event. And on that Friday, that evening, we're going to do round 2 of create your own native plant container garden. So if you missed the fun last time, or maybe you had so much fun last time that you want to participate again, it's happening. We're doing it again. So it's $45 a person. It includes your fiber pod and the soil, and at least 5 native plants that you can put in there. Again, we'll have more information to come, but I just wanted to let you know that's what's happening. We're also having, we're doing a bird outing at Rock Run in June, and we also have another fun early June evening, like I think it's the 7th, June 7th, in the evening. We're doing kind of a cool craft. If you are a crafty person or a bird nature lover, like to do hands-on projects, this is a really cool activity. I should have brought my little sample. She gave me one. It's so cool. But essentially what we're doing is we're creating our own miniature bookcases. So it's super cute. She has all these little knickknacks and things and miniature books that she's made that you can place and put. You're going to put together your miniature bookcase. You're going to decorate it all and put it all the unique things that she has in there. It's $15 a person. It includes all your materials. And again, that's at 7 p.m. I want to say June 7th. But it's all on our website. All the information for the rest of May and June is on our website. I'm working to get June events on Facebook this weekend, maybe next week sometime. So, all right. So that's what's happening in the store. What's new events are happening in the store. We also have back in stock a couple of things. Bark butter products were out of stock, I think, towards the end of last week, and they are back in stock now. So whether you need the bark butter bits or bark butter, the spreadable version, it's back in stock. I love the bark butter products this time of year. Well, all year I really like them, but this in the spring and summer is a great time to offer bark butter products because you get to feed the young baby birds. And that is so much fun because they really like that soft food. It's easy to eat, and it's just, yeah, there we go. Okay, something just popped up on the computer, and I was like, oh no, what's going on here? So it's really easy for them to eat, and it has a lot of calcium and a lot of protein in it, which baby birds and other birds are really looking for this time of year. So it's a great way to feed the birds and really give them what they're needing this time of year. I treat these kind of like snacks or treats for the birds. So it's usually one little cupful a day, or I'm mixing a little bit of this in with other seed blends. And this stuff, the spreadable, is just fun to put out for anywhere, any flat surface I can put it on. I like to frost my seed cakes with it. I like to hit it up on the trees and flat tray feeders and things. I build it up in the corner. It's a great way to feed the birds. And fun fact, many birds that enjoy bark butter are not your typical feeder birds. So like brown creepers, for example. They don't necessarily come to the feeders for the seed, but they sure will come to your yard for bark butter, especially spreadable bark butter on trees. Really, really great way to offer this kind of food to all sorts of birds and get a ton of birds to come and take advantage of it. All right. Oh no, lots of red-winged blackbirds and cowbirds. Oh, but you saw a hummingbird. That's great. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, the blackbirds are a thing, and unfortunately, our native blackbirds, like our red-winged blackbirds and the brown-headed cowbirds, and also our grackles, are here to stay. You know, they are native, and they do serve a purpose in the big circle of life. But there are some ways that we can manage them at feeders. So if that's an issue, maybe reach out to me on Messenger and we can describe exactly what's happening, and I can kind of give you a little rundown on maybe some tips and tricks. You could also call the store and we can talk you through it over the phone too. So we're always here for you, all right? Jelly is back in stock too. We kind of ran out of birdberry jelly for a little bit there, and it's back in stock. I agree. The Red Wings have a pretty song. You're right. You're playing at my heartstrings because I honestly think that the red-winged blackbirds are kind of a cool bird. Not only are they, they just have a cool attitude, and they are super protective about their young, which is kind of cool. And they do have a cool song. They have that cool trill, and it's just kind of fun. They're not here all year, so we only get to see them and enjoy them for this small period of time in nesting season, the spring and summer. And then once nesting season is over, just like most of our other migrating birds, they return back down south. So we only get to see them and enjoy them for a little bit. We can handle it, right? All right. So jelly is back, and I want to talk about jelly as it relates, and all sugary food really, as it relates to, safe and best practices for bird feeding. Because always at this time of the year, we hear of people or different groups that are kind of recommending things that may or may not be completely accurate. And I just kind of want to essentially set the record straight and give you my 2 cents on it, okay? Some of the things that you hear are a general blanket statement when it comes to, maybe saying no to jelly, or don't feed the oriole or the hummingbird's nectar. It's unsafe for them. And a lot of times these statements, when they're saying this, it's because, again, people don't read the fine print, right? So it's easier to just say no, don't do it, than this is the way to do it correctly. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how to do it correctly. What are the things that are going on, this and that, okay? So let's talk about jelly first, because jelly is a big one that we're hearing and seeing on social media, especially right now, is it's unsafe to feed jelly. Potentially, I've heard things about, certain birds may fall into jelly and it gets sticky all over them and they can't get cleaned, and it's just not safe to feed jelly. I've also heard that, jelly is unhealthy for birds to eat, and it's going to make them have a nutrient deficit or something. But here's the take, okay? This is the facts as we know them, okay? So jelly, when we're providing it, especially for orioles, it's a great way to attract orioles. And in fact, not just orioles enjoy it. A lot of birds enjoy the sweet treat, okay? Catbirds, your house finches, even woodpeckers will enjoy it. But you can get a lot of different birds like summer tanagers, and different birds that we don't normally see at seed feeders will come to jelly, just kind of like bark butter, right? Not all birds are seed eaters. Not all birds are, suet eaters, but some really enjoy fruit. And one way we can provide and attract more of them and get to see them longer and appreciate them longer is by providing the things that they enjoy. But the key about this is to provide it in a safe manner. And it's there's several factors to this, okay? First is that the type of jelly that you're using does in fact matter. All right, if you are just grabbing whatever on the shelf when you go to the grocery store, it's likely not really great for your birds. Okay, a lot of times the jelly that we see at the grocery store has, artificial flavors or added preservatives, or even is made with like that really bad the fructose corn syrup, right? Not good stuff. Not things that we want the birds to have. What you want to look for, and it's completely possible, you can find natural, good jelly at your local store. You just gotta have to read the ingredients, okay? So for example, my favorite and the kind that we carry here is birdberry jelly. This is an all-natural jelly. It's actually made of a combination of grape and blackberries. So it's a really great, there's no artificial flavor or coloring, there's no preservatives, there's no corn syrup in it. Okay, it's natural jelly. And you want to do that because when we know a couple things. The stuff that has the high fructose corn syrup and the added preservatives and the things like that in it, one, are a little bit more stickier than this stuff. Two, it's just not great to provide that stuff. Just like we won't want to provide red nectar, right, dyed nectar for your hummingbirds. We know now that dyed red is not good for humans as it is not good for your birds. So what kind of jelly you're using definitely matters. So make sure that you either grab a birdberry jelly or go when you're going to the store and you're picking a jelly for maybe you to eat, but also for the Orioles to enjoy. Make sure that you're looking at what the ingredients are. It makes a difference. Okay, we want to do it the right way. Okay. The other thing about jelly is the amount. Okay, and the type of dish that you're using, the type of feeder, the container that you're using to feed that jelly. What does it look like and how deep is it? How much are you putting out there? Because as it relates to sugary foods, we know a little goes a long way. Now I understand if you are getting many birds to your feeders. I can understand that. But only provide the amount of jelly that they can consume in one day. Okay, because sugary foods like jelly or even nectar can spoil in high heat. On top of it, jelly like this can actually kind of get syrupy and kind of like it skins over, and it's not as pleasant. We don't like skinned over jelly. We don't like old jelly, day old jelly. Neither do your birds. Keep it fresh. Fresh is best, okay? So refill it more frequently and use a less amount, all right? We have like these little dishes, or you know those the orange cup dishes. I actually sold the last feeder with the orange cup dish, so I don't have one to show you here in person. But they're small dishes. Something that maybe only a couple tablespoons is good enough. I like to say only fill it so that you to the point where you know the birds can consume it in a day. So if that's only halfway, that's halfway. I feel like us humans, I know one of the other wild birds, I was listening to one of their videos earlier this week, and she said, you know, it's really easy that humans love to overfill. You know, we see a container and it needs to be as high up to the brim. And with jelly, it's just not that case, okay? Because with jelly, and especially some of the small birds that come and visit jelly feeders, it can be kind of dangerous. So if you're filling it all the way to the top and it's overflowing, when they cop on the edge of the cup or the edge of your feeder, their feet and maybe their feathers can get coated in it. So a little bit goes a long way, all right? So less is best. Fresh is best. So do a little bit and it's gonna do a lot for your birds. I see sometimes on Facebook or on the internet of these feeders with a jar of jelly that you attach to a feeder. And I kind of have some problems with those feeders because I worry about how long that jelly sits out there, especially in the high heat. We've had a couple of really hot days. And does that jelly spoil? How much jelly is actually pouring out into that feeder? Could it be dangerous to our birds? So keep an eye on that. And again, less is best, and use the jelly that's appropriate for the birds. We love to attract these birds, and we love to see them coming back year after year. And we want to keep them coming back year after year. We got to do our part, right? Do it right. Do it responsibly, and they will continue to come back, and they will be healthy, and their babies are going to be healthy, and we're going to get to enjoy them much longer than if we can just put out some cheap corn syrup, artificial flavored jelly that's maybe going to get them in that moment, but isn't really going to do great things for them. Okay, so do it right and you're going to do good for your birds, okay? Let's talk about nectar too, because with this high heat, I think it's important to talk about how often we need to change that nectar. How often do we need to clean our feeders, right? So we always say like about 2 to 3 days, but once we start getting into the over 80, over 90 degrees, you're going to change it daily. And what I mean by change it, it's not just, dump out that nectar and refill it. It's cleaning the feeder too. Every time that you refill your feeder, you should clean the feeder. All right? Do the due diligence. Just like we don't like to eat from a dirty plate, and neither do your birds. So keep it clean, and they're going to keep coming back. The number one reason why people have fail to keep hummingbirds coming back is because they don't maintain the feeders. All right, so it's really, really important to not only change the nectar more frequently, but also clean the feeder itself. Make sure that there's no mold or floaties or discoloration in the nectar. But the same goes, keep an eye on the nectar ports. Is there mold growing in there? These feeders, these ones can go in the top rack of your dishwasher. But I always like to kind of get hands-on on it because the dishwasher might miss things that build up inside those ports. Okay, so do it more frequently and it's going to do better for you. Yeah, so the nectar protector, that's a great thing. So I was just going to talk about nectar protector, right? So whether nectar defender, right, on days like today or yesterday, how long with nectar to protect? Are you talking about like this stuff, or are you talking about the protectors that like go under here, right? Like they protect the nectar from the bees. Which one are you talking about, Donna? So I'm going to talk about Nectar Defender because I like using Nectar Defender because how it works, right? It extends the life of your nectar naturally. There are no preservatives. It's completely natural, completely safe. The main ingredient that's doing the big job on it is a micronutrient copper sulfate. Okay, it's something that they can get out in nature, but they've figured out what this component is and what it does. It extends the life of your nectar. So this stuff, right? This stuff is going to, whether you're adding this stuff, this is just Nectar Defender that you add to maybe your pre-made, you're making your nectar at home, you're going to add this to your nectar, right? This stuff is sugar with Nectar Defender already in it. So you're scooping this like you would 4-to-1 ratio, and the Nectar Defender is already built in there. This extends it for up to 2 weeks. Now, do I let it go for 2 weeks? Maybe not. Probably a week at most. But it at least gives me the time to do it. And it keeps the nectar safe, right? So if you happen to have a busy week and you can't get out there to change the nectar, or you just forgot to, bring it in, you have a busy life, you have a busy work week, whatever it's happening, you went on vacation. This can help save you and keep the birds coming back in a safe way. Again, we want to do it safely. We want to do it right. But the majority of the issue that 90% of the time is I find that people aren't changing the nectar frequently enough, or they're not cleaning the feeders frequently enough. It makes a big difference, okay? Hey guys, hey Valerie, great to see you. Another point with jelly, because it's really fun right now, right? People are seeing Orioles almost daily even. Here at the store, we're seeing a male and a female. My dad is having a female Oriole grabbing nesting material from his nesting ball. It's so cool. I'm having goldfinches already grabbing nesting material, but he has an Oriole. And the thing I want to talk about with jelly and Orioles and nesting season is that we know that Orioles take a little break in the summer. And if you get Orioles regularly, you see this and you know what's happening. Because when they take that break, it's because they are having young. And their young have hatched, and they are feeding their young. But they're not feeding them grape jelly. They're not feeding them oranges. They're likely not feeding them nectar, right? They are feeding their young naturally with insects. Okay, so a lot of times Orioles take a little break from the jelly and the oranges, the nectar, in the summer when their young have hatched because they're busy taking care of all these babies. Now, once the babies leave the nest, right, once they fledge and they're out in the bird world, mom and dad will bring them to your jelly feeders, bring them to your nectar, your orange feeders, to see what the fun is all about. Okay, they'll also continue to visit feeders until they are ready to migrate down fall, during fall migration. So you can have them, maybe they're just passing through, maybe you are one of the few that get to enjoy them all summer long because they're nesting in your area, or maybe you're seeing them on their way back from after nesting season coming down. But if you choose to continue to feed jelly, because I enjoy feeding jelly all summer, so many birds enjoy it. Everyone enjoys a sweet treat a little once in a while. Again, make sure you're offering a little amount. Okay, I like to do a little because all of a sudden one day they're not hitting the jelly, they're not hitting the Oriole feeders as they once were the day before. It's because their young have hatched. And then you, instead of having to waste and put your money down the drain, like cleaning it out, let's do a little at a time. Okay, do a little at a time. It goes a long way, and it keeps the birds safer, and it keeps them healthier, all right? Big things, all right? All right, let's switch gears here. Unless you have any questions on, jelly feeding or nectar feeding, safety tips, safety concerns, any of those questions that are burning in your brain you want to answer for, put them in the comments. And I'm going to answer them for you right here, right now, okay? Let's talk a little bit about baby birds because it's baby season and I'm already seeing nestlings in my yard and many other people are reporting seeing baby birds in their yard. And since we had a storm last night, I had a couple calls today from people that have actually found baby birds on the ground. And I think it's important to talk about types of baby birds and how to handle that, okay? So the question right now is, does it matter what kind of jelly? Absolutely. Natural is best, okay? So if you are grabbing whatever is the nearest or the cheapest on the shelf, that's fine as long as you look at the ingredients. It makes a difference on what the ingredients are. Okay, we're looking for things that have no artificial preservatives, no artificial flavoring or coloring in it, things without corn syrup. So that's why I like birdberry jelly, because this is all natural. There's no artificial flavoring, there's no preservatives, no corn syrup. Okay, it's made with grape and blackberries. And that's pretty much it. Sugar, Concord grape juice, water, and blackberry juice concentrate. Okay, so it's all natural. All right, so that's going to make a big difference. The other thing about those other kinds of jellies, those ones with the high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that in it, is it tends to be a lot stickier than your natural jelly. So it's not to say that you have to buy it here, you have to buy that birdberry jelly. I'm sure you can find natural jelly at the store. You just have to kind of look at the ingredients. It's going to be more than the 5 seconds grabbing whatever's on the shelf. Okay, you might have to look at some ingredients, but it does matter because we want to make sure the birds are stay healthy and that they are getting, they're not getting the fake stuff, right? Just like humans, it's not good for us to eat all that high fructose corn syrup. It isn't good for your birds either. All right. All right, back to baby birds. Let's talk real quick. A nestling. Now, if you were checking out our Facebook page earlier this morning, you may have seen the post about if you found a baby bird on the ground. That image that was shown there, that nearly naked, it only had pin feathers, its eyes might be closed, that is in fact a nestling. So nestlings are usually birds that are either have no feathers or very few feathers. They are not fully feathered. They might have their eyes closed. These nestlings have just hatched. They're like days old. Okay, probably no more than 10 days old. All right. Nestlings cannot survive on their own without mom in a nest. All right. Fledglings, on the other hand, and I'm going to show you some pictures of fledglings, right? So first up, right up here, this is an eastern bluebird, and mom is actually feeding the fledgling some kind of insect. It looks like a mealworm. All right. This little bird right here, fledgling, fully feathered, able to hop, able to stand. It can perch. It can sometimes fly. Sometimes it's only in short bursts. Sometimes it kind of looks a little wild, okay? Other fledglings, other ways to tell a fledgling versus a nestling is that not only are they fully feathered, but they kind of look like a miniature mom or dad, right? So down here you see all these different fledglings, you know, robin, a mourning dove, a blue jay. They're all right here. A lot of these images, okay, are all fledglings. The difference between a nestling and a fledgling is that fledglings are ready to learn how to be an adult. They're ready to be out of that nest. They are on the ground learning to be a bird. So oftentimes you do find fledglings on the ground, and that's okay. In fact, down here I love this little graphic because it says, "Don't bird nap us." Okay, that grumpy face, a little scruffy, and I do say some of them do look a little scruffy with these little feathers that are sticking out on its head or all over. The fledglings also have smaller wings, smaller tails than their adult counterparts, okay? If you see them standing or hopping and fully feathered, those are fledglings, okay? Unless they are injured, or they are in danger, meaning like a predator, like a cat or a dog is in your yard or in your neighbor's yard, or you see a hawk kind of scoping it out, these parents are totally able to take care of them. Unless they are injured or they are in danger, they do not need to be moved. Okay, leave them on the ground. Don't bird nap a fledgling. All right? I absolutely can. In fact, this is right from our website. Okay, this page and this page I'm going to also talk about. This is under the fledglings tab. It's actually, I think it's called Found a Baby Bird. It's, if you look on the left hand column of the menu, it's under May happenings or something like that. That's the title of the section, and there's a couple different articles and pages that I've created specifically for May. And this is one of them. Okay, so this image is on there and all of them are on there, okay? Fledglings are different. And the way that we treat a fledgling is different than a nestling because these birds are ready to be out of the nest. If you put them back in the nest, they'll be out before you turn your back. Okay, so don't bird nap them. Leave them on the ground. Mom and dad are usually right around there, scoping them out. Maybe even chattering at you that you're too close to their baby. But they're there. And these birds are learning how to be an adult. So we do not need to pick them up. We don't need to put them back in the nest. Unless they are injured or unless they are in danger. A nestling, right? A naked, barely feathered, maybe eyes are closed. Those are the birds that need to be re-nested. And there are a couple things to talk about here because I always get this question. Okay, if I touch a baby bird, whether it's a fledgling or a nestling, mom is not going to come back. False. Whoop. False. Sorry about that. Put something down and it made the window closed. If you touch the baby birds, whatever stage they are at, mom does not care. Dad does not care. In fact, birds have a really poor sense of smell most of the time. All right? And if we remember we talked about all the tasks in nesting season, right? Finding that territory, finding a mate, laying eggs, building a nest, raising young. It's time consuming. A lot of energy has gone into that process. They are not going to give up on their babies just because it smells possibly like you. In fact, they probably be very happy that you helped get their baby back into a nest, into possibly that nest or a makeshift nest that you create. Okay. Another myth that I often hear about is I can take care of baby birds that I find that are either injured or are on the ground. And that is also false, all right? Although it can be tempting, and I'm sure there's lots of articles online and advice and things on what you can feed or not feed to baby birds, but this is where it stands, okay? Is that it is illegal to possess and hold, whether it's you picked it up at any point, right, or you're going to take it in to take care of it. It's illegal to do that unless you are a licensed wildlife rehabilitator. Okay? So that means that if you do find an injured bird, whether it be a baby or an adult, or you're not sure, you want to call someone, you can call here. I'm still going to probably give you a number to a local wildlife rehabilitator, or I'm going to send you the list to find one that's close to you. Okay, so sometimes it is an organization like, Chicago Bird Collision Monitors. They tend to bring most of their injured wildlife to Willowbrook Wildlife. But there are other wildlife rehabilitators. There are even people like you and I who are licensed rehabilitators that care for animals at their homes. They're individual people. They're not a big organization. But they are all over the country, all over Illinois. So the best thing we can do for baby birds, whenever you find them, is to observe. Find out if they are a fledgling or maybe they're a nestling. Determine that. That is step number one. Okay, this is when it comes to this chart. And again, this chart is on our website. I will also probably be posting it tomorrow on Facebook. Okay, and it's a flow chart. So the first thing we do is we start at, is the bird injured? Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a baby or it's an adult, but for this sake, we're talking mostly babies, all right? So if it's injured, we're calling a wildlife rehabilitator. We're not picking it up and bringing it inside and we're going to wrap it up. No. You can bring it inside in a box and keep it warm while you're calling, but we're not keeping it overnight. We're not many days, okay? Baby birds need specific things, and sometimes whatever they put out on the internet is not correct. So do yourself a favor and do the birds a favor. Call a wildlife rehabilitator. All right, now let's say it's not injured. Okay, it's not injured. So we go to the next phase. Does the bird have feathers? And I wish that they worded this a little bit differently, because nestlings can have feathers, right? They can have pin feathers. They're not fully feathered. Maybe they have a little bit of down on them, but they're not fully feathered. And that's really what they're asking. Is it fully feathered? If it is, it's a fledgling. Okay, so it's not injured. It's a fledgling. As long as there aren't cats and dogs, things of danger in the area, leave the bird alone and give it space. It's the best thing you can do for it. Okay? If it does not, and it is in fact a nestling, it has no feathers or barely any feathers, that is a nestling, right? So what are we going to do? There's couple things we can do, right? Do we see a nest in the area? Maybe it's right above where you see the baby. Maybe it's a little bit of ways. Is that nest intact? Can you put it back in there? If you see that nest and you can put it back in there, you're going to put that baby right back in there, that nest. If you don't see it, you can make a makeshift nest and put it maybe in a basket and hang it in the tree. Mom or dad will find the baby and they'll take care of it. Okay? But the key on either of these, whether you're putting that nestling back into its original nest or you're putting it into a makeshift nest, you're observing what happens for an hour. Okay, in that process, that hour's time frame, you are watching to see if mom or dad comes back. Are they going to care for the baby? A nestling needs a parent and a nest to survive. So if mom does not come back, let's say maybe it was a predator that destroyed the nest, maybe mom or dad perished in that attack. If mom does not come back, if dad does not come back, that's time to call a wildlife rehabilitator. Okay? So all things roads end, hopefully, to the natural process. I always say re-nesting is best with nestlings. Fledglings, don't bird nap them. Keep them where they are. It's best for them to do their natural thing, but sometimes nature isn't kind. And we can do great things for the birds if we do our part by calling those that are trained and licensed professionals. All right? Don't try to take care of the babies on your own. Do them justice and bring them to a wildlife rehabilitator. Many times they're going to release those birds. Okay? They will not be, captive forever. They will grow up, become a fledgling, learn how to be a bird, and they'll be off as an adult. All right? So again, this stuff is on our website right now. It's under the Found a Baby Bird on the Ground, What Now tab on our menu. Both of all these images are on there. And again, I'll be posting this particular graph tomorrow on Facebook, so you guys have it too. But it's kind of important. This time of year, we see that kind of thing, whether it's summer and spring storms or, just life happens. Sometimes birds will intentionally put babies out of the nest. Sometimes they are infested with parasites and they don't want the rest of the nestlings to get infected, so they remove the young. Sometimes it's not their species of bird and the mom knows it and they remove that baby. Maybe it's a very weak bird that's not going to make it, and mom kicks it out of the nest. It happens. Nature can be brutal sometimes, and we need to learn to be okay with that nature will do its thing and will take care of it on its own. But where we can help and put intervention in is doing our part to find a rehabilitator when needed. If you're not sure, give us a call, take a picture and snap it, send it to us, and we can help you ID that and figure out, is it a nestling, is it a fledgling? Leave it alone or put it back. What's it looking like? All right? If you guys have any questions, again, put them in the comments. I'm here for you, all right? Or call the store. We're always here to answer those questions for you. I think that's it for tonight. I think I've talked your ear off enough for 40 minutes on these two topics, but again, I think they're important topics, and this time of year, it's a thing that happens, things that we hear about, and the things that we see in our own yards. So I want you to be prepared, and you have all the tools and the resources to be successful and help birds if they need help. Okay? You can do it. I know you guys care so much about your birds, and I love that about you guys. I love that you love and care and want to do the best thing to not only enjoy them, but to make sure that the birds are healthy and surviving and thriving. So I think that's pretty awesome. Yes, I see that behind me it has gotten very dark, and it's kind of too bright by the windows, but it definitely looks dusty and kind of weird colored out there. So I am going to cut this right now and head on home myself. You guys stay safe out there, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow or this weekend. I sure hope so. All right, you guys have a great weekend and enjoy the weather, whatever it may be. Enjoy your birds, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.